And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in the Long Dark, in the Tales of the Far Territory DLC. Where in the last one we brought down a bear. In fact, that is what we're going to go out and deal with right now. We brought down a bear. We'd used the doorway on this cabin here to do a quick save. We did locate where the bear corpse is, so assuming the weather holds, we're going to try to harvest the bear at the beginning of this episode. And then we're otherwise mainly trying to recover from our trip out and doing the second tail. Due to a lot of things. So the zone of contamination has a lot of chemicals on the ground that do a lot of damage to your shoes, so we basically wear our shoes. We need to repair our shoes. We have a lot of clothing damage just from being out in blizzards and stuff like that. And a lot of things kind of didn't go according to plan while we were out there. So there's a whole lot of things we want to fix before we go do tail number 3. We also have a very large trade from Sutherland that I'd like to complete, so we have 120 matches. With 120 extra matches. With 120 matches, we won't have to worry about burning through ignition for a very long time, which grants me a whole bunch of options. About just not having to be conservative about things. Whereas right now, there's some vague degree of wanting to be conservative, even after we have 120 matches. I don't think the trade is particularly cheap, so it's not something we want to be doing day in, day out. Where was the bear? I remember the bear being over here. Slightly off the river up here. Missing the bear? Did see its corpse earlier. I don't think it's been long enough for it to despawn. The fog has rolled in, so I may be missing it in fog.
Freezing.
There it is. Farther off the river than I had remembered. But yeah, here's the bear. Dead from us killing it earlier. We are going to go ahead and start a fire here. I believe we have coal, so we'll probably toss a piece or two of coal in the fire to get up temperature. And our goal with this fire is not necessarily to cook the bear. Though we will cook some bear while we're sitting here. Oh, we have 2 pieces of coal, okay. But our goal is actually to get as much of the craftables off of the bear for preservation. Well, meat and craftables. So we're going to take a little bit of meat off to start, so we can start cooking that. We're then probably going to take the hide off. That's the next most valuable thing. And then we'll probably work on getting all the meat off. The guts are fairly low priority, so if you have to leave something behind on the carcass to decay to nothing, it is the guts, ideally. Okay, 26 minutes left on those steaks. Is that getting bear meat off? We'll go 4. So yeah, in comparison to last stream where we got lost, hopefully this stream will be a lot calmer. That's how I'm going to describe it. Hopefully this stream will be a lot calmer. $57 minutes on that meat, so let's harvest 57 minutes worth of meat. And yeah, 2 pieces of coal is plenty of time and plenty of warmth. We're not in a big rush here. Other than maybe the wind coming up and giving us a bad day. And again, we're not necessarily here to cook all the meat, so if we can't get all the meat cooked, that's fine. Just if we have a fire going, keeping us warm, cooking meat while we're sitting here is not a bad way to use the fire. Okay. Should be enough time to get the rest of the meat off. And even enough time to get some of the guts off.
I'm gonna have to leave something behind.
Not really going to comment on his statement of I'm going to have to leave something behind, because yes, he is. We're not taking the entire bear with us. And even once we finish harvesting the bear, we're probably going to leave the bear hide and the bear guts at the cabin we came out of. Start of the stream. So we should have enough time to get all the guts off. The fire is going to last longer than initially advertised, because of how cold it is already out here. That's a mechanic that comes up a little bit more on Interloper difficulty than it does on other difficulties, because it's based on how cold your character model location is before applying fires. So I'm going to make some water here, instead of cooking another round. Because we're not necessarily going to sit on this fire long enough for it to cook another meat. While, on the other hand, we are probably going to sit next to it long enough for it to cook the water. There we go. Drop the guts. Eat some more bear meat. And yes, we are hundreds of days into the run, so we obviously have cooking 5 at this point. So bear meat is no risk as long as it's cooked. Torch off the fire so we have a little bit of protection as we carry the fresh guts to the cabin. Ooh, wind took the fire. Can I get it back? There we go. If we get lucky, at least last most of the way to the cabin. And it is chilly. I'm actually surprised that's all we smell with that many guts on us. We did pick up all 10 guts, right? Yeah. Yeah, so I think the plan, at least for this little bit here, is we're going to go ahead and drop these craftables off. And then probably sleep through the night and the early morning. And then if the weather is still good, we'll try to deliver some meat over to trappers. Try to deliver some of the cooked bear meat over the trappers. And then we'll sort of continue the trip we have down to Coastal Highway.
Cold is making my head feel thick.
I may stop in the ravine area to do some repairs and or kill some of the local wildlife so we have more craftables. The ravine's a pretty good place for us to make rabbit hide and deer hide. Because there's no predators in the area. The bear. We'll do a little bit of sharpening before we go to sleep. One thing we have right now is we're a little low on fuel. I suppose we could go into the cave behind trappers when we're done delivering meat there. Would like some coal. Even though the area where we're in right now is probably appropriate for just hoofing it to the closest warm weather inside location for warmth. So we can probably get away with that no coal. Okay, let's see how bad the weather is outside. Not too bad. I think it's windy enough it would be uncomfortable to try to carry a bunch of meat. Because we attract wolves. And usually my response to wolves, unless I'm trying to hunt them, is to light a torch and scare them off with a torch. The visible level of wind here, I'd be concerned about losing the torch. Well, we might still try. We're also basically back up to full conditions. I'm not too worried in this reasonably safe area of taking a little bit too cold. There's the place where we killed the bear. When it was foggy, I thought we were a little farther up the river. Okay, meat partial. Hydrate up. And we can probably get it with like 4. Won't be a lot of meat to bring to trappers. But I don't want to be slowed down too much when I don't have lit torch. And honestly, 4 is more than enough to hit full calories once stumbling into trappers. Which is the main reason I want the meat pile there. If we had fuel, I'd be tempted to hunt this deer. But I don't have any coal on me, so we wouldn't be able to get the fire on enough or last long enough. We do have a few sticks. But I'm not sure if it would be warm enough. Oh, double deer. Looks like the wind has actually calmed down a little bit.
Need to find some place to escape this cold.
So this campfire over here, these campfires over here, it used to be where one of the bear kills was. I think we'd finish either eating or transporting that one. That one was also from before the patch that added animal fat, which is why there's no pile of animal fat there. Oh, there'd still be a pile of animal fat there. Because we haven't been doing that much cooking oil. Is that a wolf or a deer? That looks like a wolf. Yeah, that's a wolf. Not sure if it's detected us yet. I don't think it
Die
has.
if I don't warm up soon.
I think it has now detected us. I think that, I think it detected either the wolf-hide pants or the bear coat or whatever. Got spooked by it. Yeah, my clothing's doing some work. Okay, we sprained an ankle, which isn't ideal. We're not bobbing because I have smooth camera turned on. For viewers like you. It doesn't bother me too much, but I know there's some viewers it bothers. So yeah, right, no sprinting for the moment, which is fine. We don't need it. Yeah, we're gonna drop the meat off. We're gonna warm up in the cabin. We'll get 1 hour progress getting rid of that sprain, and then we'll search for coal in the cave. Getting some bear meat to the bear meat pile. So in theory, because we do have the sprain, we could sleep for a full 4 hours if we needed to get it back, but we're not desperate for that right now. At least as far as the cave exploration is concerned, we don't need to sprint in the cave. I think this is maybe a circumstance where we put the belt on. Forgot we have the belt, at least for walking on flat terrain like this. It's actually going to make our carrying load lighter. Would mean we'll be able to hold a little bit more coal out of the cave. So this is the transition cave over to Mountain Town. What we're basically going to do is we're going to walk through the cave, look in one way, and then probably be a little less looking on the way back, but we'll look both ways. This cave is usually not particularly great for coal.
I don't feel so good.
But I'm not necessarily looking for a lot of coal. I'm looking for like 4 to 6 pieces.
Soon.
And we're probably going to get closer to 4 in here than 6. Any luck? Nope. If we're really desperate for a lot of coal, the better place to go is there's a coal mine in Crumbling Highway. There's a coal mine in the connector from Crumbling Highway to Desolation Point. And then there is a coal mine in Desolation Point. All three of those are a lot better places to go for coal if we wanted to pull a lot. And we may end up doing that when we do go down to Coastal Highway. Because we'll want coal for specifically keeping fires warm while we're harvesting cedar. Because the trade I've got planned involves like 60 pieces of cedar, so we're going to be making a lot of cedar. I think I'm going to get closer to 2 than 6. A little low, but it's enough for one fire. That's the ghost one. Oh. So that was the ghost one, and there was one next to the ghost one, which apparently was a ghost. So there we go. We got 2 pieces. I think that's all we're gonna get. Yeah, and that's the exit. Okay, about face. And there's a couple nooks and crannies that might be a little bit easier to spot coal in on the way back. So we are going to keep the lantern lit to make it easy to look for things. In practice, this is a cave that is bright enough, at least bright enough for me to pass through with the lantern off. So we're mainly got the lantern open, running, for the likelihood of finding coal. As slim as it is.
That hurts.
So I found 2 pieces, so I've at least got my emergency coal.
Ouch! Damn, that's smart.
That is arguably what I spent cooking and harvesting the bear, which that wasn't an emergency, but I used the emergency coal for it. But then we're in mystery, like I'm not too worried about having an emergency. And the coal in here is respawning. It doesn't have necessarily the greatest respawn timer, and there isn't a lot of spots, so it doesn't provide a lot in this cave, right off of the coal mines. Actually, I'm going to take the trip over, instead of back into Trappers, we're going to go over to Camp Office. And that way down to the dam. We'll see how quickly I walk. I don't have the capacity to sprint right now. Because we still have that ankle sprain. As you can see, this area does have birch trees, so in addition to sticks, it can have a little bit of birch in here, birch bark that spawns in here. So that's one of the things we're keeping our eyes on the bivouac for. Though we've been here through here fairly recently, so it probably hasn't respawned yet. Is weather that if it wasn't so windy, we could probably, had enough light, we could use the magnifying lens to start a fire. So we could be, if it wasn't windy, traveling by torch. Keep us safer.
That hurts.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and follow the railroad tracks. And at this point, we're probably not getting the bridge. Would have seen it by now. So it probably doesn't respawn since we came through the other direction, because we're coming back from the tails, we came from over there. So that's flyover. I don't remember there being any carcasses in this area.
I don't feel so good.
I think at this point, the only things I have that need to be repaired is like deer hide or rabbit hide.
Smart.
So we may check in the camp office. I have some rabbit hide there. That is one of the places I've done rabbit trapping a lot. But I could also imagine we may have used it all up by now. In which case we'll be waiting 3 days for it to cure. After hunting some more in the ravine. Because yeah, I think with this weather right here, if all our clothes was at full repair, we'd probably be warm. Because Mystery Lake's not a particularly cold area.
I'm gonna need some first aid.
And I know we've, with fully repaired stuff, been warm in Coastal Highway, which is a little colder than Mystery Lake. Couple sticks.
That hurts.
Multi-stacked stick. And we slide into camp office. Got some stairs. Got a heavy hammer if we need it. We definitely don't need it, though. Disassemble the torch for a stick. A book that hasn't been read yet. Stick or torches if we wanted to disassemble them. Okay, we got some cedar firewood. We're not going to drag cedar firewood from here down to Coastal. Okay, it does look like we don't have any rabbit hide here. So, that's not the trade button. We're looking for this one. So this is our 4 trades for the active trade that we want to complete. So we need to get 20 pieces of fir firewood. Actually, it's 120 cedar, so a lot of cedar. A lot of cedar, a lot of fir, a lot of harvestable plants. The water is going to be pretty easy. We can just take out the travois and transport it via travois. But 30 liters of water will be pretty easy. And even the 20 kilograms of raw meat is pretty easy. I think the hard bit is going to be getting all the firewood there. Oh, a little low on water. Trying to think about where I would have water. Okay, before we head out, it's reasonably warm outside. I think we've got the sun shining. Let's see if we can make some water. And the nice campfire here. We'll make up like 2 liters of water and get going. Okay, that should be enough to get a liter of water cooked in each of our pots. There we go. While that's working, we can process some of these torches back into sticks. Not expecting this mapping to do very much, but we'll go ahead and map. Yeah, pretty much didn't improve the map much. But we tried. I don't think there's anything else we want to do specifically. Like you're most of the way repaired, you're most of the way repaired. You need a bear hide. That 75 is actually going to be close to where we do a repair. We want the material to do the repair the deerskin boots. Or wearing the chemical boots as a backup in the meantime. Yeah, what does it take to repair you? Leather. I've got the time to repair you. Go ahead and do that. Okay, and we do... I'm gonna leave that because that just looks nice and decorative. But we are looking for harvest tools like that to take with us. Down to coastal. The trade. It's getting on a bit. So we'll see if we have any craftables when we get to the dam. I wouldn't be surprised if we did. Because as you'll see as we walk along here, we did have a couple... Well, we stole a couple deer kills off of a wolf one time. That wolf still has my arrow. Don't know where it went in the end. And we haven't had luck tracking it down. I'm hearing the crows. Okay, I see those crows. Those are the crows over the deer carcass ahead of us. Oh, that wolf just got something. Something small. Did it grab a ptarmigan? Or is it a rabbit?
I'm gonna need some first aid.
Ptarmigan. We'll make his ptarmigan. Yeah, there's a game spawn deer carcass here. Because it is a game spawn one, I'll just leave it there. It's not going to have particularly great meat on it. And it's not going anywhere. Oh, one stick. Lots of sticks there. Okay, thanks for the sticks, game. This has been a fairly chill day in Mystery Lake. Once we check the status of the ability to get crafting ingredients, we'll probably have the character sleep his sprain off. We may try to hunt in the ravine. We'll see what the weather's like. If the weather's bad, we'll probably push through into coastal and work on the other tasks I have assigned to myself. Though that'll be in the next part. I think once we finish checking all the craft ingredients and either using them or not, we'll probably end the part when the character takes his 3-hour nap. Oh, lots of partials. That's not super great. Okay, so we got one piece of meat left there. This pile is a little bit more visible than the other one, so I'm going to leave that one there. Again, we've got
colder soon.
2 deer meat piles here. The other one's in the long grass over here, and this is a little harder to see. Maybe also by that one, well, the first one has been the one that's not been eaten. Yes, and we're looking right at it, and you probably can't see it yet. Now, if you know what you're looking for, you can see it, and there it is. So there's the campfire, there's the meat. The campfire was right next to the deer, so wasn't trying to make it a hidden pile, I just accidentally did. I don't like the wind necessarily picking up. Because we do have a ptarmigan on us, so we're going to attract wolves.
That hurts.
No, that's, well,
Damn,
it's not a good sound, but that's a sound that we can
I don't feel so
continue
good.
to craft during the night if we find crafting stuff. Don't remember if we shoved it in this one, or that one, or the dam, so we're going to check all 3. For those of you who did not catch the notes were the sound of a transition into an aurora. So probably as soon as this dusk ends, we're going to have a full-blown aurora. There's a few more notes if you know what you're listening for. Okay, so we got some deer. Hide. We'll make use of that. Maybe make use of that.
I need to drop something.
And then I'm gonna go move over to the dam for this crafting bit.
That hurts.
Oh, we have some cedar firewood here. Now, there won't be any wolves in the dam, so we'll be safe while the aurora is going on. And to be fair, the dam has electrical lighting, so we'll be able to craft during the night. Won't be particularly visible during the night, but that's not too much of a problem. And we have a wolf hide here. It's not exactly what we're looking for. I don't think our wolf pants need repair. Am I gonna get to use... Turn off that torch. No. I waited a little too long. Okay, so repair-wise, we want to repair these boots. We want to repair those gloves. We don't have the stuff for the gloves yet. We do have the stuff for the boots. And there comes the aurora kicking in.
Too heavy.
There we go. We're out of deer hide, but we did basically repair the boots at this point. So now the chemical boots are surplus. I'm going to leave them here. And we now have our newly repaired deer skin boots. One thing we can do here while we've got the aurora going on is I would like to repair the crampons at some point in the near future. So that means I need 4 pieces of scrap metal. This may be a location that is decent, requiring some scrap metal by clearing up some stuff that doesn't like look pretty or anything. Like a metal chair. There we go. 4 pieces of scrap metal, that's what we need for the repair. And a fallen over chair that we will never remember is missing. And arguably when it was fallen over was a bit of an eyesore. Then before we go out, let's get the meat off the ptarmigan. We'll spend the time harvesting the feathers. We'll take a little bit of dehydration damage by the looks of it. That shouldn't be too bad. I think I'll leave the ptarmigan meat outside. Like here. It's 2 pieces of raw ptarmigan. Okay. And then if I have the calories, we're gonna sleep both at the end of this recording session and to pass what remains of the aurora.
I don't feel so good.
Because while it won't be a problem for us transitioning over to Bleak Inlet, or not Bleak, to the ravine, this isn't particularly great. It's a bit windy for hunting weather.
Ouch! Damn,
Okay.
that smarts.
This is where we had left the guts from before, so we're going to leave the cured guts here. You can go ahead and leave the cured wolf. We're going to drop the hacksaw and the sewing kit. Put the hacksaw up here. Let's go put the sewing kit up there. So one way I tend to keep ruined whetstones and sewing kits and stuff as sort of souvenirs of how much work I've done in the game. One way I keep them separate is I tend to put the ruined ones on top of things. And the perfectly usable ones on the floor. Okay, so we should have enough counters. If you're watching on YouTube, there'll be another part up tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. I'm going to take a short break, and then we're going to get right back to it. So until the next part, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.